Steady rain throughout the day and a muddy track, but Kentucky Derby 139 goes off without a hitch. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Bennett Haeberle.
Big concern is obviously what's in the air. Marcus mentioned how the winds have shifted. Earlier when we were here, they were blowing a little bit further north. That's part of the reason why they moved us up here away from the disaster site.
We're standing here on Interstate 64 at the site of this bus crash. MetroSafe officials now telling us that 31 people have been transported. David Cam himself sat at the table, buried his head in his hands, and wept uncontrollably from the time the verdict was read until the time the jury was dismissed out of the courtroom. The destruction stretches from here and several miles to the east. This is also what came with it, baseball-sized hail. In fact, the entire courtroom was brought a block and a half away to this garage. Nearly 200 officers are on the streets trying to make sure that all the celebrations go properly, everyone remains safe. The Mounted Patrol here, lots of Louisville fans celebrating this first national title in more than 27 years. Police say around 3 o'clock a man walked onto this TARC bus at the corner of Goldsmith Lane and Bardstown Road and shot another man.
We begin this afternoon with a news alert. Crews are on the scene of a fire at a crematory in Buchel.
The hospital implemented its code yellow, basically ensuring that they had enough doctors and nurses on staff here to care for the children. The bus is gone, the crime tape is gone, and so is the suspect. Members of LMPD's dive team pulled the body of a white male in his late 50s from this pond behind me.
So there you go. It's a lot more important than just whether you need sunglasses or an umbrella. Here's a look at today's payouts. Orb was favored to win at 6-1 odds, which paid out $12.80.
Is there an explanation for this at all?
For what?
Honestly.
For what?
Well, for the allegations that were put forward in the PIU report.
Does it cause a concern for you that 10 of your employees have come forward to us and said that they have these concerns, that they've said management's lacking here? What does that say to you? I mean, that's a fifth of your workforce.
Did you take a bribe? Do you think it's appropriate to call 911 in a non-emergency situation? But in short, you don't see a conflict. No wrongdoing on part of your part or any other administrator? You're not abusing your power?
You can't answer any questions?
I cannot answer this question. Okay?
Why
Thank
is
you.
that?
Thank you.
No, I'm not done. I've got a couple more questions.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I'm not done, though. You're going to dodge questions? Continue to dodge questions?
Move closer to the screen and watch the upper left. The school bus swerves from the far right lane and crashes into the concrete median of Interstate 64.
When it's kids involved, it's really bad.
Truck driver Lynn Whaling captured the video on his dashboard camera. He says the school bus blew a tire. Whaling then pulled over and called for an ambulance.
And I helped try to get what kids weren't hurt out of the bus so they can get to the ones that were hurt.
At least 40 people were involved, more than 30 of them students from Wagner High School who were returning from a college visit when the bus crashed. All of them were placed on stretchers and taken to area hospitals. 6 were critically hurt.
A couple of the kids had their legs were hurt really bad, and one of them, he had to hit his head really hard on the window because he was throwing up blood and everything. So he was seriously hurt. As soon as the bus crashed into this concrete median, police say another car crashed into the median on the other side of the interstate. Police say the white car crashed after the bus hit the wall. LMPD's traffic unit is looking into what role the blown tire on the bus may have played.
That is a possibility that we're looking at. We haven't been able to confirm certainly that it was the tire, but that's definitely something we're looking at right now.
He said the tire blew out and then it started going back and forth and went up against the wall, and I guess it finally stopped.
Michelle Johnson's son Richard was among the students hurt on the bus. He was taken to Norton Brownsboro Hospital in pain, but with minor injuries.
It was very scary. But now that I'm here and I've seen him, I'm relieved, to know that, he's not as hurt as what he could have been.
The sign over my shoulder is spelled correctly, but move a quarter mile down the road, and the letters and the story start to change. It seems like everyone is always in a rush. 43,000 cars a day on this section of Bardstown Road in a hurry to get from point A to B. Maybe they haven't even noticed the stumble with the ABCs. Do you know how long the sign's been up like that?
I don't know. I don't get over here very often, but I'd never even noticed it until you just mentioned it.
Don Newton owns land near 2 permanent signs for the Gene Snyder Freeway, but hadn't noticed the name of the late Kentucky congressman was misspelled cinder. How do you think something like that happens?
I don't know, but you would think that they would know that better downtown than here, or the highway department at least.
Turns out the hurry to get a project done may be to blame. The State Highway Department says it made a mistake, passing off a misspelled template to the contractor who made the 2 signs that went up this weekend. Andrea Clifford says the project manager was focused on safety and construction and did not spell check hundreds of pages of documents. Should they be?
Should they be looking for misspellings? Well, if we have to go through and comb every word on every page for a misspelling, it's going to take a lot longer to get projects through the design phase and out the door to construction.
It's funny. I guess they had a spell check problem, or somebody was rushing.
Up the road 20 miles, another rush to replace this Cincinnati sign left the Queen City with an extra T. The project manager says they kept pressuring the subcontractor to get the sign done, get it done. They got it done. It went up at night without a spell check.
Somebody wasn't doing their job right. I think they could have gave me the job, I would have did it right, but
You could have just looked at your hat.
or looked at my hat.
Ramon Manley was unloading a truck when we pointed out the mistake. The Cincinnati Reds fan was baffled.
Are y'all paying attention to your job, or, what's going on? What's going on here? Is anybody doing it right?
The project manager for the Ohio River Bridges project had the sign fixed hours later, a hurry-up fix to problems created in a hurry. A spokeswoman for the state's transportation cabinet says they hope to have that sign corrected by the middle of this week. Reporting in Louisville, Bennett Haeberle, WDRB News. The winds of change have changed very little on this block. Windows are broken, letting the cold air in, while others are boarded up, keeping progress out. At one time, Louisville Gardens was the concert venue, fit for a king. But Elvis left the building long ago. Over the years, mixed martial arts, concerts, and sporting events with tantalizing views help fill the seats.
It's been around that long, I don't see why it's just collecting. I mean, it's just sitting here.
Sitting here for several years, closed, empty, and still costing you money. Even though its marquee is dark, once the sun sets, the garden's lights still come on, and you, the taxpayer, are picking up the tab.
Just keeping it to where everything doesn't deteriorate is expensive to do that.
So what's it costing you to keep the lights on over at Louisville Gardens? Our investigation looked at the past 5 years' worth of utility records, and we crunched the numbers. Looking at 2008 all the way to this year, the city has spent more than $315,000 just to keep the lights and heat on in a building that continues to sit empty.
Copies of the utility records show just how expensive it's been. Some months were as low as $350, others more than $3,000. A handful were more than $12,000.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, see, if they're willing to pay that, why would you spend that much money on an electric bill?
One was even as high as $16,000 for 1 month of heat and electricity.
And not one single thing was booked in the venue.
What about the lights? Do they have to remain on all the time?
Well, I don't really know. I hope not. I wouldn't think so. But enough lights need to be on for safety purposes.
Over a period of weeks, we monitored the building, recording the few lights that remain on, both outside and inside the building. This light in the main gym area appears to always be on. The city refused our repeated requests to tour the building. While costs have gone down each year, Mayor Fisher says keeping the utilities running is necessary to prevent further deterioration.
It's an issue for us, and it really points out, too, as a city, we have financial challenges just with our budget right now. So to put $15 or $20 million into that and then have operating costs, we need a real viable concept and strategy before we do that.
Translation, there's no plan to do anything with the building right now.
When you bring a bill and you say $31,000 to keep the lights on, that's necessary, but it points to some general dissatisfaction with the overall agreement that we've entered into.
The developers behind 4th Street Live, the Cordish company, had agreed to revamp Louisville Gardens. But in August of last year, the company changed the development agreement, and its promise to redo the gardens is now optional. Concern from council members appears to be shared on both sides of the political aisle.
The number of us who are challenging, the number of us who are concerned about the deal seems to be growing.
I think certainly we'll all continue to push for and turn over every stone to make sure that an opportunity presents itself that allows us to bring it back.
Councilman David Tandy would like to see it redeveloped, but that could cost upwards of $20 million. Right now, there are no current plans to do anything with the building.
And I think some might question, how long will it continue to rest? It's been almost 6 years.
Well, and you can see obviously that's kind of been the recession. It started resting a little bit before the recession, then the recession hits, and before what looked like a great development deals that were happening all over the country didn't materialize.
Company officials with Cordish did not respond to our repeated attempts for answers on the future of the building. Fisher says the company is not standing in the way of progress and is happy if the city finds another deal.
They could turn it into a museum. There's a lot of good things they could do with it.
Right now it's in a time where it's resting.
As the mayor put it, the property at 525 West Muhammad Ali Boulevard continues to rest. And rest assured, until the new tenant moves in, the city will keep a light on. Bennett Haeberle, WDRB News. That's Lori Pyle waving to the 3 children she's been trying to adopt for almost 4 years.
Why are they walking so slow? I don't know. Walk faster.
Those are her other children, encouraging them to speed it up. That's McKenna there in the pink, wiping her eyes. It's been a long, drawn-out battle with several trips between the U.S. and Africa. The anticipation has been the hardest part. Lori wanted to arrive at the airport at 1:30 this afternoon. Friends encouraged her to wait.
Oh,
Now, her deep breaths signal the wait is almost over. The 4 years and thousands of miles that separated this family will soon be erased. This is Sam. Lori first laid eyes on him and his siblings in an orphanage in Sierra Leone in 2009. He ran to her then, telling her they were being abused. She agreed to adopt them.
you made it.
There is no doubt in her mind she is his mom. Now brothers are reconnected, and so is an entire family.
Oh, Sam.
4,900 miles separated the family, but United Flight 4684 helped them reunite. Francis Pyle, his wife Lori, now daughters McKenna and Bethany embrace. Even the smallest members of this family realize what a challenge it has been, how the African nation and its government fought this adoption, how the Pyles fought back, never giving up even when it seemed like the battle would never end. Hugs now a sure sign of victory.
Hi, Granny's girl.
They seem to be spreading among the entire family that's grown from 5 to 8. The Pyles also credit their friends and neighbors for their continued support. It hasn't been easy. The new family will now head home. The kids from Africa are anticipating what they call an American meal of pizza and chocolate cake. So what does this all mean to Lori?
I don't even know. They're home. They're home.
The thought overwhelming for Mom.